All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give it a few more seconds. There's still some users joining the session. We'll get started here in the next few seconds. All right, looks like we're holding steady. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Josh. I am a software support engineer here at Meridian Kiosks for MzeroManage and the MzeroManage solution for the Personnel Management Kiosk, here within then referred to as the PMK. So it's October 21st. It's Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock Eastern. Let's get it started. All right, so PMK, Personnel Management Kiosk. For those of you who are familiar with this device, this will be a breeze for you. Go ahead and sit back and relax. If you're new to this device or you're curious about it, you've been doing some research, I'm going to give you a quick little what's going on with them. So Personnel Management Kiosk, this is essentially a facial scanning, temperature taking device. What it does as a user interfaces with it, you do not have to touch it. All you have to do is walk up to it. It will take your temperature, and then if you choose to do so, it will actually recognize you by your face and then log that event in real time. So essentially, individual will walk up to this unit. If they choose to have it recognize them by their face, can say, hey, oh, Josh has stepped up to the unit. He's got a good temperature. Take my temp, take my picture, and keep on trucking. A couple variations on the unit itself. There's a pedestal version, a couple different pedestal versions. We'll just go left to right here. So our standard pedestal version is about average height individual would use this. You'd put this in most facilities. You walk up to it, nice, clean, powder coated metal base, sturdy. It does have the ability for you to mount it to a floor or some other type of material if you're worried about tipping over. It's very sturdy though. Then we have a child height version, which is a little bit shorter than the traditional kiosk. If you're a school or if you have individuals who are shorter, this would definitely be the unit that you might want to look into purchasing. I will note, I should say, I've spoken to several customers in the field, some real good case stories of this unit being used in some senior living centers, senior living facilities. This apparently is a perfect height for individuals in a wheelchair. So one of my customers I've worked with before, getting their unit set up for the first time, they said that this was a perfect height, and they found that some of their senior residents and senior visitors could wheel right up to the child height kiosk and were able to get scanned with minimal intervention. So just note that child height, perfect for kids, perfect for those in wheelchairs, mobility scooters, etc. Then there's the pedestal with LED. This version features a nice bright LED ring around the joint of the head unit into the kiosk pedestal. So you get a little LED, green for a good scan, red for abnormal temperature or a denied entry. Moving on down, we've got a wall mountable version of this unit. If a form factor, keeping it off the floor, or you're just somebody that likes to mount stuff to walls, boom, we've got a wall mount addition here for you with a little bracket to put that on the wall. And then last but not least, the countertop model. Maybe a sleek, slim form factor is something you're looking for, portability, or the ability to change the height at any given time, go from one level of desk to another, or you want to put it up on the reception desk. The countertop model, all the same features as the rest of the units, just a different mount and form factor. All right, trucking along. So what does MzeroManage do? What does it mean for you and your personnel management kiosk? Very simply put, very short, it allows you to control a singular kiosk or several 20, 30, 50, 100 kiosks from one location, one portal, one group, one login to be able to manage settings on these devices. But not just settings, being able to review scans as they come in, as users scan in on the device. You can actually watch those scans occur. You can watch those scans come in. That is a feature of this. Being able to have one centralized and local area to control onboarded faces. So if you are using facial database for recognition of employee, hey, you want Tim to walk up to it and ding, I'm Tim, here's my temp, I'm good to go. And then in your auditing and reporting, you can go back in and say, oh, okay, Tim signed in at 8:03. He was early to work this morning. He's got a good temperature. That's all I care about. And then you can keep moving along. So essentially, it gives you a centralized portal to be able to control any and all of your kiosks from. If you had 10 kiosks spread across a large manufacturing facility, you made one update, then you have to make it 9 more times. I wouldn't want you to have to do that. That seems like a lot of extra work and legwork just to update a temperature setting. So, bam, MzeroManage can make that dream come true and make it easier and more feasible for one individual to control the deployment and or any operational changes on those units. So I touched on a lot of these features and capabilities. And of course, as you're familiar with the unit taking the temperature and logging the scan of the face, whether you're using a stranger or what we call guest mode, or you're using an onboarded employee database, picture set, etc. So you can upload and have a list of employees in your organization. That will give you the ability to log temperatures, send an email alert. Someone scans in at the front desk, they've got 101 fever. The minute that scan occurs, whomever in your organization is selected to receive email alerts, they can for sure be alerted that, hey, there was a scan at this time at this kiosk, and they can handle that appropriately as deemed within your organization's protocol. Reports. You get a nice graphical user interface that you could essentially search in real time. You can just click and browse through the scans for the day, for the week, yesterday, custom dates, custom date ranges. Those reports are also able to be exported to like a CSV format for anybody who loves data and loves spreadsheets. I know those people exist. I've talked to them. And if they want a CSV to be able to manipulate that data set on their own side of things, that is easily, you click a button and boom, you've got a CSV of all your data. Being able to check and see if a kiosk is connected to the web, when it last connected, those are definitely features available on the view and the server side. We'll get into that in a second. Changing the in-app configurations and settings. Already talked about that. Being able to change a setting on 10 devices or one device, you just do it from one login. The dashboard portal with the rolling security view, I'll show you that. All your scans coming through. Ability to group kiosks. That just gives you, let's say you've got a large facility, or you're multinational company, or you're in a couple different states here in the U.S. and you don't want people in Florida worrying about scans in Ohio. You can group your kiosks and then set your permissions so whomever has access to see Ohio sees Ohio. Whomever has access to see Florida is only seeing Florida. And then the ability to turn off local storage on the device with integration to the MzeroManage cloud. You have an option to select whether or not the values of the scan, so that could be the temperature data, that could be the pictures, anything, that can actually be turned off so it's not stored on the device and it immediately uploads to the cloud, and that sensitive data or potentially sensitive data is not on the physical kiosk head unit in storage. All right, so we talked about the image facial recognition. So if you are someone that's planning on using facial recognition, or this seems like, hey, I want to know more about this, we'll talk about that here now. So facial recognition, the algorithm that lives in the machine, the algorithm that is actually applied to the scanees or the uploaded profile picture for the users, it's looking for some things. There's a couple of key pieces of criteria that we got to meet. Obviously, it has to be a face. I don't want the back of a head. It's not going to see eyes. But we're looking for a neck, shoulder profile. We've got that. The neck is important. I can differentiate between a neck and a chin, so I'm getting a depth of field. I'm not just holding up a photograph. I'm able to see a nose, maybe some cheekbones, teeth, a smile, corners of the mouth, the eyes. And then lastly, top of the head, ears, and all points in between. So the image that you see here on the screen is a prime example of a passport style photo, government ID style photo. This is what's going to be giving you the best result, the more accurate and the better quality photo that you can feed the algorithm for the profile for the individual user, the better your identification rate and the least likely you're going to have, it's going to be least likely to have an issue with someone being misidentified. Couple things to note. JPEGs and PNGs, portable network graphics, currently the only image wrappers or image container types that are supported. We cannot have an image larger than 500 kilobyte. Now, the pixel cannot exceed the pixels here for the photograph. We don't really need a photo even that big. The example we have here is just over 1,000 pixels tall by about 675 pixels wide. So I know it says it cannot exceed 4,000 by 2,600 pixels. That being said, I've seen photographs this size and maybe a little bit smaller work perfectly. So your photo will be kicked out if it's too big, in size, physical dimensions, and in file size. So one thing to note, if you have uploaded some pictures and you're not getting, they're still showing up as a guest or it's not recognizing them, we can show you some tricks. If you need to call into support, open up a ticket, we can show you a couple tricks on how to see. If you're not too technically savvy, we can show you a real easy way to determine if that picture is good or not, based upon some reporting features in MzeroManage. It's a little deep for a webinar, but those things do exist. So I'll go ahead and put that teaser out there and maybe we'll look at it in an example. All right, 2/3 of the picture, the entire photo area needs to be the face. I would say in this photograph here, our example, there's probably at least 3/4 of the photo is occupied with this gentleman's face. Tilt, angle, pitch. Okay, no glamour photos, no what do they call it? The life touch photos, where you're sitting straight and then the cameraman has you turn your head over to the left and kind of tilt your head and smile and you do the little hand over the chins like a school photo. That's we got to have a straight forward looking, eyes level with the lens of the camera photograph. So this gentleman here, for our example, he's looking straight into the lens of the camera. Doesn't look like he's looking up at the camera over here, or he's having to look down at the camera. His face is on plane with the camera. That is crucial. Last but not least, as far as the image requirements, no crazy backgrounds, no patterns, no stripes, no paisley prints, as plain, matte, flat finish as you can get. Brick walls, I've seen brick walls work, as long as they're not any painting on them. But the official advice from me would be as plain of a nondescript wall as possible. No literature, no posters on the background, nothing like that. No reflective surfaces, no glass. Don't take it in front of a glass window or a mirrored surface. Plain, flat background, industrial gray, etc. And as far as the maximum amount of individual faces that the machine can recognize, is capped at 20,000 individual faces. So if you don't plan on putting more than 20,000 people into your facial database, you won't have much to worry about there. So talking about the startup video resource library, we have an extensive knowledge base, which is full of articles on how-tos, frequently asked questions, links on how to perform basic tasks, doing updating. All that information exists for you as the end user or a potential customer to peruse, and maybe just go ahead and just test drive it. Ever looked at a piece of technology before? You're going to do some research. I'll download the manual for something that I'm looking at buying, and I'll read through it because that will tell me some specifications and if I really want it. So, video resource library, it exists. It is available. If you go to the Meridian Kiosks.com, so our main website, you'll see temperature screening kiosk, and under that there's FAQs, there's resources, there's a video library. You can watch webinars of times past, sign up for the next one. It's all there for you guys to enjoy. So we're going to talk about the dashboards real quick. So I'm going to pop over into the management server. So give me 1 second. I'm going to do a little testy here with you guys. Boom. All right. All right. So basically what we're looking at here is we're just looking at the MzeroManage. This is where you're going to go to add kiosks. This is where you're going to go to set up kiosk groups. There's not a whole lot we would want to dive into here on a webinar, just because it's more administratively based. It's going to be more for whoever's going to set this up in your company, in your domain. This is going to be the website that they go and interface with. The website that we really want to play around with and show of is going to be our MzeroManage view. So please ignore my hideous face. It never takes a good picture of me. Other people manage to get decent pictures, not me. Anyway, so this is our dashboard. So as I'm talking to you guys, I'm actually going to scan in with one of my testing units here. And okay, so it just took my scan. It liked my temperature, and booyah, you heard it. Normal scan. 2-3 seconds later, my goofy face is right up here for everybody's viewing pleasure to see. So yeah, so that's our security camera view. I look like such a goober in that picture. But no, so this is our security camera view here. This is the dashboard I was discussing. This is the real-time rolling scan. If I were to take a couple more scans, if any of the other units that are attached to our testing account here were to take scans, they would appear there on the dashboard as the scan occurs. So yeah, that's definitely a nice feature to have. See, look, it's catching me talking again. What I tell you, it doesn't like me. All right, so that's your real-time scan. That's great. What if I want to see something of this is 16 scans. What if I want to see the 17th scan? Boom, entry report. So my entry report right here gives me all my scans for a given time set. I can go back. and go this week. I can put in custom date ranges. It's loading. We do a lot of test scans here. If you have a lot of scans, it could take a second for it to load. Putting in custom dates from them to today, etc. It does allow you those abilities to customize the reporting. And as I mentioned, I told you, we can export this as a CSV. So let's see here. So here we can see this is the CSV. This is basically telling me, hey, these scans occurred today. There's some custom fields in here that we're possibly going to add. A lot of information, but essentially I can grab my user ID, which is my employee ID. I can grab a name. I can grab a pass or fail. Like if I don't even want to know about this right, I don't have to know it. If I don't want to know about a mask, get rid of it. It's gone. All I want to know is these features here. We can do that. If you like I said, if you're a data wizard, if Excel is your bread and butter, it won't take you very long to be able to create a custom workflow for you. Just say, hey, I need columns C, D, H, and L, and that's all I'm ever going to need. Boom, we have that for you in a CSV format. No, I don't want to save. All right, so entry report, touched on entry report. Let's see, so yeah, we talked about that. We're going to talk about MzeroManage views, what we're going through right now. So settings, changing settings on the device. Being able to push out a setting change from the dashboard to all connected devices. Look at all these settings. Could you imagine having to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, let's say it's 15 or 20 on that page. I'm not gonna waste your time counting. Let's say you had to do 15 settings. So you've got 10 kiosks, 15 settings. It's 150 mouse clicks, including mileage and walking around and carrying around keyboards and mice. Yeah, I feel for you already if you've been doing this. Changing your settings, adding a logo. You can turn up the volume on the devices remotely. You can change body temperature and mass settings. If you want to change a manual temperature compensation, if you want to let it do automatic compensation, different types of alarms. Let's say you're in a hot environment, you want to turn the fan on, stranger entry, stranger record. This is for capturing individuals who are not onboarded. If let me tell you right now, save you a support ticket. If you are not using the device for facial recognition, these two settings, stranger entry needs to be 1, enabled, and stranger record needs to be 1, record stranger information. I cannot stress enough how important these two, I'll say it again for the people in the back. Stranger entry and stranger record need to be enabled if you are not using facial recognition. It will not capture an event if it is not recording information at all. So let's see. We talked about the setting, kiosk. So being able to take a look at kind of like a top-down view or so here from the kiosk view. So I can see my kiosk name. Is there an alarm? Does somebody have a high temperature recently? Let's see. Okay, yeah, cool. Kiosk actions. Let's say you didn't have your kiosks online. You wanted to get all your employees added to the website first, or you made some changes to some employee data, but you need to force that information down. Run a sync. So it will now start pushing the faces from the cloud down to the device, and you will update your facial database. Let's say you want to refresh the application. Boom. You've just rebooted the scanning app from the device. Or if it's hooked up to dry contact or a relay, you can, that's my relay sound for those of you playing at home. That's the relay sound effect there. So the relay just clicked open, and my users now have access to that door. We also have the personnel area here. So we do our testing here. Name, age, gender, email. If they have a badge card, if you're going to look at sending that out via one of the pigtails, employee information, and a picture. So see, I promise you I don't look like that all the time. That's in comparison, that's a lot better picture of me. Anyway, so that's just kind of like the run through here on the old MzeroManage view. We could go a little bit deeper, but I just want to give you, try to, whenever we can, try to give you a little bit of a sneak peek on there. So coming up to wrapping up the session for today. You're looking at getting this device, you're looking at getting the software, or you have the device, you have the software. We have options for support and onboarding. So what is onboarding? Onboarding is a session that you purchase with a technician, one of our technicians here in-house, to which we would essentially spend an hour with you one-on-one. And we would work on, getting, for the most part, getting you kind of acclimated to the device, the workflow, show you a couple tricks and tips. And then just really sit there to allow you to play with it, ask some questions, go through some of the features of that device in detail, and how you might have just had like, oh, I want to do this. Can I do this? I wasn't sure. Can you help me set up my email alert? Stuff like that. So you get an hour to assist you with getting your feet wet and diving into MZero. So one of the other support packages, well, I guess it was a 20-minute training session. It's a 20 minutes. This is more specifically for the device itself. If you're MzeroManage cloud user, or you're thinking about purchasing MzeroManage cloud package, that's super. That's great. The 20-minute training session is more for just focusing on the kiosk aspect of it, but we offer that. We also have a tiered support package for the kiosk. So this is physical and software support. So we got our PMK Select package, which gives you all the weekday 8 to 5, excluding holidays, email, hotline, phone support. But essentially, what it does is it gives you 60 minutes of after-hours support for the year, except holidays and weekends. Then we have the premium support package, which is basically the same as the PMK Select. You just get twice as much support time. So if you call, it takes 5 minutes. That's great. You've got 115 minutes of after hours support. The Premium Plus support package is all those great features of online, email, hotline, phone support, video chat, 120 minutes of after-hours support per device that you buy the package for, plus holidays and weekends included. And should something happen that you need to have your device fixed or serviced, we got a included 2-day shipping on RMA returns, so none of that having to wait for ground. Within the time of the ticket place and RMA determined, a 48-hour head unit replacement. And then depending on some unique factors would be one on-site tech visit. And that is based upon a $200 minimum technician price. And that is subject to change. All those plans are available for the PMKs. The pricing should be available either through your reseller or through sales at mzero.com. If you already have a established relationship with a reseller or a distributor, we do ask, we advise, the common courtesy to reach out to them. If they're not able to provide the support package details or provide you with someone that can, sales at MZero, that's MZERO.com, MZero.com, sales at MZero.com. So that will be how you could get signed up for those packages if you purchase after the fact, or if you purchase along with MZero and along with a physical unit. It does not matter. All right, so this is the time here. I'm going to give my voice a break for a few seconds. If there's any questions, you guys can go ahead and submit them now. And if we don't have any questions here in a few minutes, we'll end it, but I'll give you guys a few seconds to type. All right, anybody got any questions? Maybe it's a big question. Maybe you're a slow typer. We're gonna hang out here. And oh, there we go. We got our first one of the day. Question. ... Yes, that's what I. Slow typer. You know what? As proof that you are listening, my friend, and that's a Bueller. You know what? You're entertaining me. These guys, Bueller. That's a good one. But I guess we'll just we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the most part. Just a couple. Oh, we do have one. What action should we take if a user is detected as having a high temp? As far as within your organization, there's a couple different. I guess it would depend on whoever your human resources director is, or building safety supervisor, someone with a title similar to that. One of the features that we like to point out when we're talking to a customer about the product is the nice thing about having the kiosks be in different locations is, if you have two kiosks, one at the front door, one at the back door, if someone scans in and that email alert is triggered, you'll know which specific kiosk it was at. And then using the entry report, you can do, oh God, what is it they call it when they trace, oh, I can't think of the name of it. It's that thing when you go back and see whom they might have had contact with. So essentially, you would be able to see, hey, they scanned at this kiosk, and here's the 10 people that scanned in before them, and that they need to contact tracing. That's it. Thank you, Randy. Yeah, so that would help you with contact tracing because you would be able to see who was perhaps in line at the time that it went down. From a technical perspective, what should you do? Really has nothing to do unless you think they like coughed or sneezed or got some type of expectorant on the unit. Clean it accordingly, soft cloth, some disinfectant. But you'll get an email alert from there. It just kind of be how you want to handle it. You do get a couple options. Like I said, some privacy concerns. So maybe you don't want a big red light shining up on the device and, Tim's got a bad temp. And then drawing everybody's attention to it. We are maybe in a educational facility or a setting like that where the kids might not be of a mature age enough to respect somebody having a high temperature, not freaking out and being all dramatic. But that'd be basically it. You'd be able to just to see that temperature alert occurred and then react accordingly. Let's see. Hate when it splits the question up like that. All right, is M0 capable of sending alerts to an email distribution group? I was told this is still in the works and will be available in the next patch. Yes, if you are already an M0 user and you want a distribution group to be emailed, sorry, let me rephrase that. If you want an email alert to go to a distribution group, yes, we can do that. Please open a support ticket on the website and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. This is my kiosk in my company. I want this distribution group to get alerts for the kiosk in Ohio. And then we would take care of that for you, get them added, and then from there you can do what you want with that distribution list. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility. It's one of the more common account creations, additional account creations that we do for existing users. While we're on that topic, I will also say too, if you plan on having a lot of these kiosks in your group or in your organization and distributed through the plant, the facility, wherever it might be, we also recommend a distribution list for alerts as well as a generic kiosk login. So that way you can have the kiosks phone home under a generic login, and that would be able to, that way you're not having an individual user tied to that. SMS alert notifications available as well. If you have a email that's set to an SMS forwarder, that is possible. Or I think some cellular providers will do a telephone number at SMS or vtext.com, which is Verizon. I think AT&T has one too. So that depends. As long as it is an email address or we can send an email to an email address, that's it. That's all we, for lack of better words, really want. Let's see. All right. Jose, you're very welcome, my friend. If you need any accounts added, just go ahead and open up a ticket and just say something along the lines of, I need to add users. I need additional users. Give us their name, their email address, and we will take it from there and let you know when it's done, or reach out to you if we have any questions. All of our technicians are nice. We don't bite. All right, I'm gonna give it a few more seconds here, take a sip of water, and if any more questions pop in, I'll answer those. If not, then we're nearing the end of our show today. All right, doesn't look like we got any new questions popping up. So, yep, okay, nope, I thought I saw something. Let's see. Oh, no, something did just pop up. Does a user need to be signed in to receive alerts? No, they do not need to be signed in to receive alerts, neither on the kiosk, neither on the website. They just need to have access, or they need to have an account registered under your group's account. So they would need to be added as a user. However, they don't have to be logged in. They just have to be subscribed. They have to be subscribed to the email alerts, as well as have view permissions for that specific kiosk. So if you don't have permission to access or see that kiosk and it scans, then you will not get an email alert for those kiosks. If a kiosk that you have permission to communicate with does, for lack of better words, have an alert or an event on it, then they'll get that email. All right, we'll give it a few more seconds. Had a couple roll in, so we'll let it there, go for one more second. All right, giving it one last look over. Does it look like we've got any fresh questions coming in? Nope, it does not. All right, let's see. So you guys have been great, excellent questions. I appreciate you guys giving me a little humor back there at the end and the start of the question. It was a little quiet. That's much appreciated. Trust me on this end as a host. If there's anything else you guys need, we have the same time, same bat station, same bat channel, same Josh man. We'll be here next Wednesday, which is, my goodness, it's almost Halloween, guys. We'll have to do a Halloween theme one next week, so be sure to join in. If anything else is up, there's MeridianKiosks.com. There's several FAQs and resources, as well as information on help and info and getting information from sales. Without further ado, this is Josh signing off for today's MzeroManage platform Personnel Management Kiosk webinar. I look forward to seeing everyone again next week and some new faces as well. Everyone have a great rest of the afternoon and a safe and healthy rest of the week. Thank you to everyone who showed love today on the call.